Hey everyone, and welcome to another Homeschool Live with the Old Schoolhouse. My name is Christine, and today we are talking about influencing the world for Christ. And with me today, we have Jesse Boulden from Alert Academy, and he is the director and commanding officer of the Alert program. So, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to just start off. I'd like to get to know who you are and just tell our viewers a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Jesse Boulden. And as she was saying, I am the director of the International Alert Academy. We're out here in East Texas, about 2 hours outside of Dallas. And I've been with the Academy for about 15 years now. I actually came through the Academy back in 2008 and 2009 as a student. I graduated and then I stuck around on either volunteer or paid staff for the last 13 and a half years. So I've been with the Academy both as a student and as a staff member for a collective 15 years. And part of my connection to the homeschool movement is that I was homeschooled, right? There's my claim to fame. At least with this audience, is that through my whole upbringing, I'm one of six kids, so I come from a moderately sized family, and we were kind of the beginnings of the homeschool movement. The late '80s, early '90s is the era I grew up in, and that was kind of the Wild West of homeschooling. We were kind of making it up as we went along.
Yeah.
I look at all the resources that the homeschooling families have now, and it's incredible. It's cool to see it
Yes.
grow and continue to grow with the resources and the opportunities that kids have now. I'm obviously incredibly grateful to have been homeschooled, and then to see where the homeschooling movement has gone. That's part of how I got involved with Alert. Is part of the circles we ran in and the people we were with. Some of their sons had come through Alert, and I interacted with them, and they'd done the training and came home and told me about it within some of the homeschool community we were a part of. And so there's a little bit of a connection there. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And a bit of a homeschooling background. What
yeah.
have you noticed as one of the biggest challenges for homeschooling families?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I think there are many, right?
There are many. Yeah,
And they're probably different than some of the challenges we faced growing up.
it's true. Yeah.
One of the things that's very different would be technology for sure.
Yeah.
We didn't have the technology that these kids are growing up with, so that's one of the things that came to mind. But maybe the one that's a little more close to what I do here at the Academy and kind of our mission here is, what do we do with our kids post high school, right?
Yeah.
As you look at the academic world and you're thinking about college, and do you send them to college? Do you not? Do you take a gap year? Do you not? Do you send them to some of these, in universities, which might be questionable as far as their ethics and morality and things?
True.
And so that's kind of a big question. Is what are we training our kids up to do, and then where do we send them once we're done schooling them? Where is where is a place to send them, especially young men, right? I see young men, they're kind of lost, right? We look at the numbers, and young guys aren't going to college, and they're not graduating, and in the same rate that even girls are. Not that that's wrong or bad, it just kind of is. And so I see that as one of the challenges for sure, is what do we do with our kids once we finish the homeschooling process with them. So
Yeah, that's it's very particular to me because I have two boys.
sure,
They're 11 and 7 right now, but it's always in the back of my mind as to, because I can't see,
yeah,
what path they're going to take, but there is that little bit of fear as to, what's going to be there for them when they get to that point, and I'm done my part
yeah.
and I have to send them out. And that is my goal. I want them to be grounded in their faith, for one, because again, if they choose to go to one of those colleges or universities and that have questionable
Yeah.
ideologies and all of that stuff, I want to make
Mhm.
sure that they're going to be strong enough to face that. But just to know that there are other options out there that
Yeah.
could help continue to build that faith outside of the home. So, yeah, what is one of the one thing that you could give homeschooling parents, 'cause now that you've come through
Yeah.
that those
Yeah.
years? of
You
experience?
know, I was thinking about this, and as I look back at my experience as a homeschooler, probably the biggest thing that made the most impact in my life was that my parents were involved in my education every
Yeah.
single step of the way.
Mm.
That is to say, and homeschoolers kind of get a cool bonus from being homeschooled, and that's that we get opportunities other kids don't,
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
Because we can get music lessons at odd times of the day that other kids couldn't, or we can go be part of this organization or that organization, or we can be a part of sports teams that public schoolers couldn't because of the time or whatever. So we have all these really cool experiences that we get because we can kind of go on our own time, our own dime. We get all these really cool experiences, but my parents never, they provided those experiences for me growing up, but they never ever dropped me off. They were always involved in them.
Okay.
So I was part of a sports team. My parents always were sports parents, right? So they would either be an
Nice.
assistant coach on the team or be a snack mom, that kind of involvement, right? I was
I
in
love that.
gymnastics growing up, and so that they would drop me off for gymnastics, and then they would stay and they would work out in the gym too, right? As I was getting my workout in, they were getting their workout in.
Nice.
I was in an orchestra for a while, right? And they were band parents, right? That means they brought
Wow.
snacks or they brought whatever. They planned trips or they came. So that would be the thing I would encourage parents
Mm.
as much as they can. I get not every
Yeah,
parent
of
can do this,
course. Yeah.
but if there's opportunities to do more than just drop your kid off to have experiences or to
Yeah.
be a part of things, be as involved as you can.
Yeah.
Because I look back and I go, man, my parents didn't just provide these awesome experiences, as cool as those were. They were actually with me in them.
Doing
Right?
it with
Over it.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's my mom, and there's my dad, and she's a coach, or she's in the gym, or she's whatever. So
Yeah.
um, that's what I would encourage parents to do, man. If you can be involved in those events and in those activities, in the Shakespeare plays or in the speech and debate clubs or whatever, even as this being a coach or being a grader, don't just drop your kids off. Be involved in the
Yeah.
event or the activity as much as you can.
That is great advice. And it's one of my goals too, to be with them, because again, you blink and they're
Yeah, it's gone.
18, 19, and they're leaving home, and I don't even know how they got to 11 and 7 already. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and so every moment counts. And I work from home, which a lot of us homeschooling moms um, have to work part-time because it's the way the economy is right now. And so our time is even more limited with our
Sure.
kids. And I mean, we're grateful for the opportunity to still homeschool, but yeah, to really maximize on the time that we have with them, and not just drop them off to this program or the other, but to experience it with them. Because there's the bonding, and two, they appreciate that you're also walking with them,
Yeah. And
learning and
and
experiencing.
I will say your kid might not always appreciate it in the moment.
True.
They'll be like, go away,
Go
right?
away.
But let me do my thing. But looking back, I am incredibly grateful. So be okay with wrestling through that with them. That's got to be a little bit of touch and go there,
Yeah.
or give and take. But
Yeah.
looking back, I can promise you, they're never going to say, "Man, I
That
wish I
was
spent
terrible.
less time with mom." Right?
Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
never gonna say that. So yeah, that's what I look back and I'm incredibly grateful for, and would encourage and exhort parents to do the same.
Yeah, it's incredible advice. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm excited to learn about Alert Academy, and
Yeah.
so please tell us all about that.
Yeah. So the Alert Academy is an acronym. It stands for the Air Land Emergency Resource Team. And we
Okay.
are a 9-month gap year program for young men coming out of high school. And so we take guys that are coming out of high school, and that often young men are not sure where they land, where they fit in the culture, where they fit in the world, what they want to do with their lives. Most young men don't want to go back to school, at least not right away. They just got done with it.
Yeah.
That's the way I was. I was not looking looking for 4 more years of education, at least not right away. And especially not in that kind of environment where it's, regulatory and structured and in a way that now I got to take tests and study and all those things. I want to do something with my life and with my hands, get out and be active, right? As most young men, we're built that way, right? And so we take young men and we put them through this gap year program. It's cut into three different phases. And first phase, second phase, third phase. We call it basic training, intermediate training, and then advanced training. And we have a grid, I like to call it, or a lens behind everything we do, right? So in all three phases of training, and I'll get into the details here in a second, that we want to make sure every facet of that young man's experience here is soaked in these things, right? So our purpose is to forge extraordinary men who will influence their world for Christ, right? So we take men, we put them into a forging process. We kind of do a little bit of a gut check, I like to say, kind of a wake-up call as men. You're no longer a boy, you're no longer a child, you're a man. This is what men do, right? Boys take, men give, right? We want to train them so that they come out. And I like to put it in a very simple terms. I like to take young men who are naturally, myself included, like this, looking at ourselves. What can I get out of life? What can I do? How can I get yada, 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 me, and help them pick their head up and see that, man, they were created for so much more. They were created for a life of service, right? When Jesus comes, that's how he spends his life, is he comes to serve, not to be served. And that's what we want young men to do, right? That they're here to give, not get, not take. So we're here to forge men who will go out and influence the world for Christ. And we believe that occurs as the gospel transforms a man. So all that we do here is gospel-centric, gospel-centered. Discipline strengthens a man, right? And so we have a military-style structure to what we do. The guys who started the program were all military veterans back in the 90s when the program came to fruition. So that's where we have kind of the uniforms and the rank structure and the boot camp feel. So discipline strengthens a man. Hardship matures a man. And so the training we do here has an element of difficulty to it. To where it is boot camp style training, at least the first phase. Camaraderie sharpens a man. So we do that in the collective community, right? So we do it together. Some of my best friends came out of this academy, right? We went through the training together and we came out the other side best friends. I was in their weddings. They were in my weddings. And we're friends 15 years later. We're still the best of buds. So camaraderie sharpens a man. It's not a solo run. It's not about you. It's about the collective. Training equips a man, right? And so we want to give these guys skills that they can actually use, right? Tools, their tool belt. That's why we train them to be EMTs and special response divers and in construction and pilots. And I'll get into that in a second. So training equips these guys to go out and serve. And then finally, service focuses a man. It focuses us. Life's not about you. It's about other people, right? So we have these words that we call our ethos, right? The driving force behind what we do. And that's the gospel, discipline, hardship, camaraderie, training, and service. Those are our 7 guiding principles, or our core values, you could say. So that's what we do. That's the program, and it's cut into 3 phases. First phase, second phase, and third phase, like I said. Basic training is 9 weeks, and it's like basic training in the military, right? It's a boot camp style feeling, right? And that's where you get your basic search and rescue skills and land navigation skills and search and recovery skills and medical skills. And we put guys all through that training together. Obviously, we're a Christian organization, so we're memorizing scripture and spending time in the Word and going through Bible study methods classes to kind of set the foundation for all of us. Once you advance out of basic training, you can come back for intermediate training. That's also 9 weeks. And that's where we kind of build onto the next level. And that's where guys get their chainsaw technician training, a week of firefighting training, a week of high angle rescue training, a week of structure rescue training, 2 weeks of dive training. So they become special response divers or search and recovery divers when they're done with that. And then we do 2 weeks of deployment. And so that we're not just training our guys, but we also put them into real world scenarios, a real world disaster relief.
Mm.
And so like next week, we got a crew of guys, one of our guys, or one of our units here in battalion, they're deploying to Louisiana for tornado relief, right? And so
Okay, yeah.
we're an active resource for government officials and for people to
Wow.
deploy us locally, nationally, and then internationally. Uh,
Yes.
and that's kind of that thrust, right? That here's all these cool skills, all these cool experiences. Now go out and use them in service to other people.
Hmm.
So that's second phase. And then third phase is where you kind of pick your vocation. You start to specialize. Um,
Right.
and that's where you kind of pick your advanced training pipeline. And the advanced training that we offer, I'll kind of just run through them pretty quick here because
Yeah, sure.
there's quite a few. We have an aviation school here, and so we train guys all the way up through their commercial pilot if they want to do that. We have basic training cadre or basic training leadership. That's where you go back into basic training and you become a squad leader or a drill instructor. We have a construction program where guys can get certified in the basics of construction. If that's kind of what they're interested in, using their hands. We have an advanced diving program where you can become a dive master and up your dive game. We have an emergency medicine program where you can come out with your basic EMT, emergency
Mhm.
medical technician certification. We have a leadership and communications program where you come out and you spend 9 weeks in kind of that thrust of leadership. How do you lead yourself? How do you lead teams, management, and then communication, writing, and public speaking happen in that course. So leadership
Great.
and communications. We have an overseas missions program. So guys go
Okay.
through a missionary type training program, and then they go overseas for a week or 2 weeks during that training to experience life in a different country. Uh,
Mm.
and they get to interact with overseas missionaries if that's kind of where they're headed. And then we have a technical rescue program. And so that's high hunger rescue, trench rescue, collapse structure rescue, and
Wow.
you swiftwater rescue technician training, and you come out with those certifications.
Wow.
All of our certifications are nationally certified. So guys can come from anywhere in the country, get trained here, go back and take that certification and work in those fields
That's
with the
amazing.
certifications that we give these guys. So we get students from all over the country. We get students from all over the world. Obviously, we're the International Alert Academy, so we do get international students, and then obviously we deploy internationally if the call comes. So yeah, that's kind of a nutshell. I know it's a lot of information.
It's but it's amazing. This is an amazing program, and, again, I'm taking notes because my older son has expressed an interest in we have so I'm in, Canada,
Sure.
so so we've got air cadets, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's counting down the months, because they start at age 12. And so, but I'm listening to this program and I'm like, oh, this one sounds so much better because
Yeah.
you have the Christian background and that's what I want. And so
Yeah.
um it's good that there's international
And
options because
and we do. We get a lot of Canadians down here, a good handful. Even actually, the guy who runs our first phase right now, our boot camp training, he's Canadian, right? He's from Canada.
okay,
And he's an American too. He's got dual citizenship there, but
right.
he came from Canada when he first came as a student, 12 years ago. And
Awesome.
we get guys all shapes and sizes, right? We get guys who want to be engineers. That's fine, right? It's not like we only take men who are a certain way that want to be sea
Right.
cadets or want to go in the military.
Right.
Obviously, those guys like what we do here and they maybe click in.
Yeah.
But we take guys from all over the country, all over the world, all sorts of personalities. We are non-denominational, right? And
Right.
so we don't go any specific angle that way. We kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
focus on the main pillars of the Christian faith and leave the tertiary issues kind of by the wayside, just because we get guys from all different denominations, which is
Sure. Yeah.
completely fine. Because we want to be able to serve a wide variety
Of course.
of
Of
the student
course.
demographic. So,
Yeah.
um,
That's
so yeah,
amazing.
our guys end up everywhere, right? Our alumni, right? We've put about 3,000 guys through the program, a little under than that in the last 30
Wow.
years. So we have a
Wow.
alumni association of about 3,000. And our men are doing everything everywhere, right? Some of the guys, they are doctors, they are Navy SEALs, right? They are special operators, they are construction workers, they are, physical therapists, they are business owners. They are firefighters, right? They're doing anything and everything. So
Wow.
sometimes people can get a picture of us that, we're only for the kind of guys that want to join the military, and
Right.
be helpful for guys, right? Because it kind of preps them. My own brother is in the military, and he came to Alert first, and because of the training he got here, it prepped him for his military time, and it helped reinforce a Christian worldview, right?
Yeah,
When
of
he went into
course.
the military, he knew what he believed in why by the time he got
Yeah.
there. It wasn't fresh out of high school and joined the army. He spent 2 or 3 years here, kind of
Mhm.
setting a good foundation about what he believed and why he believed it. And so when he got to the
Mhm.
military, he was able to stand for his beliefs and not be swayed by some of the environment there.
Yeah.
So we get
Yeah.
guys from all shapes and sizes, and we take guys from all parts of the country, all parts of the world, and it doesn't matter where they want to go or what they want to do. We believe that we have a mission and a pipeline that could be helpful for them, right? To help them figure
Mhm.
out who God has called them to be, why He has designed them, and to help strengthen them as young men. So.
Do you feel that, maybe some have come with one idea in their head, okay, I'm going to go this direction, and then, as they go through the program, they change
Absolutely.
completely? Yeah.
Absolutely. Myself would be included in that story,
Okay.
right? So I came to get my firefighter and my paramedic and do
Okay.
that. And I got my firefighter and my EMT, so I did do that. But I ended up staying around because my worldview did shift, right?
Mhm.
I came kind of looking at myself. What can I get out
Right.
of this program?
Right.
And after my time here, I said, "Oh man, there's a bigger need out there. There's a bigger world out there. There's a bigger mission out there. Life's
Mm.
not about me. Life's about other people." And so no, we do see that a lot where guys and how could they not? When you're 18, you have no idea what you want to do with your life. It's hard to be 18.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out, and so yeah, a lot of guys will course correct, and that's one of the beauties of the program, is that we have this discipleship mentorship mentality through the whole pipeline, where we want young guys to get mentored by older men,
I love
um,
that.
to help them answer that question, right?
Mhm.
What do I want to do with my life? Who am I in Christ? How do I find my identity? And by being in the Word of God and being mentored and being discipled during their time here, that can help a young man find his footing in a let's just say a very confusing world right now, especially
Mhm.
as a
It
man,
is.
right? Does the culture want me? Does the culture need me? What
Mhm.
is it to be a man? And Alert is standing here saying, no,
Yeah.
the world does need you. They don't think they need you, but the
Mm.
world needs Christ-centered, gospel-centered men
Yeah.
who are willing to stand for truth and live a life of service. So that's kind of the gap we're trying to fill, or the need we're trying
Yeah.
to fill, is help young men find their footing in a very confusing world right now.
Mm. And I love that, it's you described it as a gap, this can
Yeah,
be that gap
yeah,
year. And many homeschooling families, or students, I should say, want to do that because, they need to figure out, what they want to do because they're not really sure. Like they've experienced all kinds of things in their high school years, but then, okay, now we're done. Now what do we do? And
right.
so something like Alert Academy would be the perfect opportunity for that. Do you see a lot of homeschoolers coming through? I
Yes,
think
we probably have about an 80% homeschool base out of our student body. So a large portion of our guys, and that's just the circles we run in, right?
right.
That's where we tend to recruit from, whether it's book fairs or things like that, or magazines or subscriptions. We tend to just kind of
Sure.
cater towards that audience. Now, we do get guys from private school. We do get guys from public school. Those
Of
guys are more
course.
than welcome.
Yeah.
But about 80% of our student body comes from some way, shape, or form the homeschool demographic.
Perfect.
And most of them are Christians, right? Now we'll get one or two non-Christians here and there, but most of our guys are coming from a more of a, we'll say, conservative homeschool Christian background as they come to the academy.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you are out there and you are considering, what your son could be doing after those high school years, this is a great opportunity. Please tell us how they can find all their information.
Yeah.
Uh, how to get involved.
Yeah. So the website is alertacademy.com. That's the best place to go. We've got the application on there, how to apply. We have, obviously, you can send us an email if you have questions, pick up the phone, give us a call. That's all there on our website. It's probably the best place to track us down. We are on Facebook and Instagram and all of those things too. But the best information you're going to find is on our website there, alertacademy.com.
Yeah, and it's scrolling on the bottom of the screen right now, and we'll
Yeah,
also have it in the comments, so you can go ahead and click through and check out all the information. Uh, Thank you for joining us today and
absolutely.
letting us know about this wonderful program. Is there anything that popped in your mind
Yeah.
while we were talking that you want to just let our viewers know?
Yeah. There are three things that the Academy gave to me as I came through as a student that I think have the capacity that we can give to any young man.
Mm.
And results will vary, right? Depending on you get out of it what you put into it. But here are the three intangibles, right? Now, it gave me certifications and it gave me training and it gave me all those things, and those were awesome. And I've used those in my life. But here are the three intangibles that Alert offers any young man. The first is crazy, awesome experiences. We can give these guys experiences that it's just hard to duplicate or replicate anywhere else. So I've gotten to do things here at Alert that I would have never gotten to do if I hadn't come here. So crazy, awesome guy type experiences
Wow.
that you look back and you go, did we really do that? Whoa, that's crazy, or that's awesome. I've got to go places, do things that I just wouldn't have gotten to otherwise. So that's the first thing.
Mm.
Alert, it's kind of the intangible. Number two is a brotherhood, right? Is it relationships,
Mm.
is community. That I got to forge friendships here that have lasted me for my life, right? So
Mm.
15 years later, and my best friends, all the guys in my wedding were Alert men, and I was all in their weddings, right? And Alert, because you get to be forged together in that trying and in the training, and you're going through this kind of growth period in your lives, 18, 19, 20, 21. That forges guys together in a really special way. You get to be part of something bigger than yourselves.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of an intangible that I didn't expect to get,
Yeah.
are these really close, tight knit friendships. And then the third is, and we've already talked about this, perspective, right?
Right.
Alert changed my life. I'm incredibly grateful for the perspective it gave me, right? It changed
Mhm.
my worldview. It changed my perspective on what life was really about. And it's the best thing I ever did, right? As an alum of the program now, and having gotten to work my way up through the ranks and been part of it for 15 years, I've gotten to have crazy, awesome experiences, friendships that have lasted a lifetime, and then a perspective about what life's really about.
Mhm. That's that's such a wonderful story, and just a testament to how awesome this program is. And I'm so glad that you were able to share with all of us. And now that we know a little bit more about Alert Academy, I hope you out there who are watching, you will go ahead and click through and take advantage and see what the possibilities are. We're so grateful for opportunities like this. So thank you once again for being
Absolutely.
here and letting us know. And thank you all for watching today. Please let us know if you have any comments or questions. Let us know. You can type it in the chat and we'll get back to you. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again for another homeschool